Ryan Carter had a good job at a construction company. He'd been there for nearly 8 years, loyal, hard-working, the kind of man who never showed up late or left work unfinished. He was married 5 years ago to Elena, the woman he loved to the moon and back. She was soft-spoken, graceful, and beautiful in a quiet, effortless way. Her laughter could fill a room, and her kindness had drawn him in from the first moment they met. Their life together was simple, stable, and good. A small house on a calm street, dinners together at the same wooden table they'd bought right after their wedding, weekend walks through the park with coffee in hand. It all felt right. It all felt safe. But slowly, Ryan started to notice small things. It began with her phone. She started keeping it close, almost too close, slipping it into her pocket even when she was home, turning it face down every time it buzzed. Then there were the sudden errands, the late nights that had no explanation. She said she had more work now since her marketing projects were picking up. He wanted to be proud of her, and for a while he was. But one night he walked into the kitchen and saw her smiling at her phone, a small secret smile, the kind of smile she used to give him. "Who's that?" he asked lightly. She looked up, startled. "Oh, just a client." He nodded, but something inside him whispered, "She's lying." From that day, a quiet distance began to grow between them, invisible but heavy. They still shared a bed, still ate breakfast together, but the air was different. The small jokes, the morning kisses, the warmth, all of it seemed to fade. Ryan tried to ignore it. He buried himself in work, spending extra hours at the construction firm under the supervision of his boss, Mr. Walker, a man he admired. Mr. Walker was the kind of boss everyone respected, confident, smart, fair, and successful. Ryan often told Elena about him at home. "He's the kind of man who built everything himself," Ryan had said once. "Started as a laborer. Now he owns half the company." Elena had smiled faintly. "He sounds impressive." At the time, he didn't think much of it. Weeks passed, and the changes in Elena became harder to overlook. She dressed differently, carefully, beautifully. Perfume he'd never smelled before. Makeup for quick work meetings. "Who's the client you're meeting so late?" Ryan asked one evening. She hesitated. "It's just one of the big ones." "I'm helping him with a campaign." "Campaign?" he repeated. "You never mentioned this before." "It came up suddenly," she said quickly. "Don't worry, it's good money." Money. That word stayed with him. They weren't rich, but they weren't struggling either. So why did she suddenly need extra money? That night, while she showered, he saw a message light up her phone. He didn't want to look, but his hands moved before his mind could stop them. "Same place tomorrow, 7 p.m. I'll bring the cash." Ryan froze. His breath caught. Cash. He read it again and again, feeling his heart twist in disbelief. The next morning, he called his old friend, David, a private investigator. They'd known each other since college. Ryan told him everything. David was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "You think she's cheating?" Ryan swallowed hard. "I don't want to believe that." "Then don't," David said softly. "Let's just find the truth." Days passed. Ryan went to work, pretended everything was fine, smiled when his boss gave him tasks, and came home to a wife he could no longer recognize. Finally, David called. His tone was heavy. "Ryan, I've got something." Ryan met him at a small diner outside town. David looked tired, or maybe sad. He slid a few photos across the table. In them, Elena was sitting across from a man at a restaurant. She was smiling, that same secret smile. Her hand brushed his. Ryan's world went silent. "Who is he?" he asked, his throat dry. David hesitated. "You might want to sit down." "I am sitting," Ryan said, his voice low. David exhaled. "It's your boss, Mr. Walker." Ryan stared at the photo again, at the familiar face, the man he'd trusted, respected, his boss, the one he'd always spoken so highly of to his wife. For a long time, Ryan didn't speak. He just sat there, staring at the evidence of his broken life, while the diner's lights flickered softly above him. David spoke again, quietly. She told him she needed money for her mother's treatment. "But I checked. Her mother's fine. She lied to him, too." Ryan pressed his hands to his face. "Oh, God," he whispered, voice trembling. "He's my boss." The next day, Ryan went to work. When Mr. Walker greeted him with his usual calm smile, Ryan almost laughed, bitterly, quietly. The man who had shaken his hand every morning, who trusted him with reports and projects, had been sleeping with his wife, and neither of them knew the truth about each other. Mr. Walker didn't know that Elena was Ryan's wife. Elena didn't know that Mr. Walker was Ryan's boss. And Ryan, until yesterday, didn't know they were the same man. The irony was cruel. Ryan went through the day like a ghost, answering calls, finishing paperwork, all while his heart screamed inside. When Mr. Walker asked if everything was okay, he forced a smile and said, "Just a headache." That night, he came home to Elena. She hugged him at the door, her scent of expensive perfume filling the air. "I missed you today," she said softly. He looked at her, his eyes tired. "Did you?" She blinked, confused. "Of course I did." He didn't reply. He just sat down, silent. She made dinner, chattered about nothing, pretending their marriage was still the same. And Ryan pretended too, because pretending was easier than watching everything fall apart in one night. The next week, he quit his job. He told Mr. Walker that he needed time for personal reasons. His boss shook his hand warmly, thanking him for his work, saying, "You'll always have a place here." Ryan smiled faintly. "I'll remember that." At home, he transferred all their joint savings into Elena's account. He packed a single bag and wrote her a letter. "Elena, I know everything. You don't have to lie anymore. I hope the money was worth the life you sold. Tell him I said hello, but maybe don't mention my name. He might not keep seeing you if he realizes who you were married to." Ryan. He left the letter on the table beside her favorite coffee mug and walked out of the house they'd once dreamed of filling with children. 2 months later, David called. "She's single now," he said. Ryan didn't ask why. David sighed. "Your boss, Walker, he found out who she was. Guess someone told him she was your wife. He ended it, fired her too." Ryan stared at the ocean in front of him. He'd moved to a small coastal town where no one knew his name, The sound of waves was the only thing that made sense anymore. She got what she wanted, Ryan said quietly, and what she deserved. Are you okay? David asked. Ryan thought for a long time before answering. No, he said finally, but I will be. He hung up, watching the sun sink beneath the horizon, the sky turning red like the end of something once beautiful. And for the first time in months, he took a deep breath and let the past go.